Hello and welcome to what's new in Microsoft 365 and Copilot for October 2025. If you don't want to wait for the video update or the monthly blog, you can follow on the socials, and I often put out updates around 7:30 UK time, Monday to Friday. So we've got updates for Copilot, Outlook, SharePoint, Teams, and some from around Microsoft 365. Just a reminder that I can't cover everything in this video. We look at the highlights. So go and have a look at the blog. In the notes section to the video, you'll find a link, and then you can read maybe twice as many updates as I cover here. So starting with Copilot. So new in Microsoft 365, Copilot Researcher with computer use. You see, you've got this new icon on the screen here. So it allows you to interact with public, gated, and interactive web content. The computer part of it is a secure virtual machine, so a secure VM. So the main things that I took from this was the ability to for Copilot to stop, for Researcher to stop. You take control, then you can put your credentials in for gated content if you've told it to go and look at it. Microsoft gave some stats to show the performance difference and how much better it is. If you go and look at the blog, I've got a link that goes off to those stats. And it's just generally meant to be better, but the virtual machine part is isolated away from your network and from the internet. So it'll be interesting to see what use cases people have for this. Due from the end of October for organizations with Frontier Access. So if you don't know what Frontier Access is, go and have a look at the blog, go and look at the post, and it's got a link to explain what the Frontier program is. Sharing and collaboration come to Copilot notebooks just maybe 10 days ago. Maybe less. I was doing a session on notebooks, and the number one question was, can I share it? Can I work with somebody else? And at the time I had to say no, but look at the screen. So we've got a notebook here, and we've got that familiar interface there for sharing, and that means that you can collaborate with your colleagues on a single notebook. All data security and permissions is maintained. For details of that, for how it handles when I'm sharing content on there with you and how it handles that, go and have a look at the blog. Folks, quite a big gap there. So late October to December for that, but really, really good. If you haven't checked out notebooks, folks, they're surprisingly good. Go and have a look at Copilot notebooks. Definitely worth you checking out. GPT-5 becomes the default Copilot model. So you can see on the screen here, this is what you normally see, top right hand corner. It says try GPT-5. It's going to become the default. You can still turn it off if you want to, but that is going to be the default. Now, if you've kicked off an action and you want it just to be quicker, if it's going the long way, you can say you want to get a quick answer and it will stop doing its deeper work. But folks, due late October to late November, so you're going to see that over the next month or so. Enhanced side-by-side chat experience for Copilot pages. So this isn't a great screenshot, I do apologise, but on the left-hand side here, when you're in a Copilot page, then your Copilot is on the left-hand side, isn't it? So we've got our page on the right-hand side. So I've got a chat open, and I can be talking about about the stuff that's on my page. Now you might have a gazillion things on that page, so actually summarising it and summarising it into a 120, 150 word summary in neutral tone, for example, might be a good way to summarise that content you've got. Okay, so early October to early November. So by the time you're watching this video, you may already have that. Go and check it out if you haven't already done so. So I told you some time ago about unlicensed Copilot users getting access to create, and I told you about some of the exceptions. One of those was that they didn't have access to video, and I looked at this on a client site today and it wasn't in, but it's due pretty soon. So the ability to create a video, for example, from PowerPoint. I've recently used this to create some training materials and it is spookily good already, so definitely go and check that out. So mid to late November, the ability to create videos. So the simplest one for you to go and try would maybe use a PowerPoint presentation, upload that and ask it to create a video for it. If you do, remember that it looks at the content on the slide. You can put some more information in the notes. It looks at that as well, and you can put your instructions and what you want it to do as you set that up. Go and try it, folks. As soon as you get access, it's it's surprisingly good. Include teams channels in your context IQ prompts. So all this is, so I'm in Copilot, and I'm doing my prompt. So you do /, and we often add files, don't we? But what I can add, I'm going to be able to, is add channels. So it might be that I just want a summary of the XYZ project channel. All our project stuff is an XYZ project channel, and actually I want a summary and I want to work on that stuff in there. So I'll be able to do /, select that channel, and then do my prompt and get it to go and do work on that. Now I don't know whether that's a typo in the demo screen. We'll see whether they actually managed to spell channels, but it might just be a little typo for whoever's creating it. It just made me smile because we all make little mistakes like that, don't we? Or it might not be a mistake, that might just be how they've set it up. Early to late November, I think that's going to be really useful. So some quick ones for Copilot now. We've got AI and Microsoft Graph powered overview in Copilot Search. So if you haven't checked out Copilot Search yet, it might be that you're looking for a certain slide deck about the XYZ topic. You can't remember what it's called, or the search terms, or anything about it. Just tell it that you're looking for something about this, and it does a pretty good job of finding it. But what we're going to also have is an overview of what it's found. A bit like if you go to Google, search on Google, you get an overview at the top of the findings, and then you get the details below. So something like that is coming along between mid and late November. So that screenshot, all it's showing at the moment is where the search is, and if I do a search here, then the overview will be below, I think. So I've not seen that yet, so I think that's what you're going to see. Version history in Copilot pages, just in case someone's messed up your page, or you've messed up your page that you're working on. For those of you who are used to version history in documents, it'll be like that. You can just recover a previous version. So you should have that anytime now, actually, looking at that early November. Communication memory in Copilot, enhanced personalization across Copilot. I've told you about this previously, and I've got a blog post on it. Due early September to this year to January, so big gap for that one. And all it means is that it will look, from a communication point of view, it looks at the way you communicate across Microsoft 365, just to tone your communications more to your voice. Updates to memory and personalization. So I was talking to a group of people today. So we were focusing on Copilot Chat, so the free version of Copilot rather than M365 Copilot, and I was showing them the custom instructions. Little things like always use UK English spellings, any tone of voice that you want. You could tell it whether you do or do not want full stops at the end of bullet points, whether you do or don't want em dashes, for example. So whatever your rules are. So you can go and have a look at that. So it's just making it easier to understand and making it easier to see and navigate around in here. So even if you're not waiting for this update and you haven't looked at the personalization, next time you look at Copilot, top right hand corner, click on the three little dots, go to your settings, and then come into here, click onto personalization. Updated user interface for Copilot navigation in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Outlook, and Teams. So this is just easier access to the agents, and I haven't seen a screenshot yet. And for those of you who are new to these videos, that icon means that this update is from the 365 roadmap, and we all know that the details are pretty scant, and the dates are just almost like a placeholder, aren't they? But look at when that comes out, maybe next month, I'll tell you more about those changes. Asking Copilot about highlighted response content. So it's responded to you, and then you can highlight just a bit of its answer, and then you can ask it to zoom in and talk about that. That's going to be super good, isn't it? So it's giving you a nice big answer, but actually this little bit catches your eye, and then you can tell it to focus on that. It says June, November, but that's another roadmap one, so probably not. Overview page in Copilot notebooks. I talked about notebooks earlier. They're brilliant. You might have loads of content in there. And actually, you know what would be useful? If I just had an overview of all my content. So that is June, November. I think it'll be later than that. I'll be telling you about this next month. But an overview page in Copilot notebooks, I think, will be really welcome. Okay, Let's see what's happening in Outlook. Edit in Outlook button when drafting emails. So you can see here that we're clearly in Copilot. I apologize for the screenshot, by the way. I'm very grateful for Microsoft sharing screenshots, but occasionally the resolution is a little bit low, but you can't complain because it's just great that they do share it, isn't it? So Copilot here is detecting that you're asking it to draft an email. And it might just be edit and send the email in Outlook. So it knows that it's preparing an email for you. So here you can say edit in Outlook. So it will take that draft, open up an email. So it will have the content, the subject, the body, all of it's ready to go. And I think that's going to be epic. And of course, I know you can go to Outlook and do stuff, but I like the fact that I can start from Copilot chat and I can push it to Outlook. So you should have that by mid-November, and I think that'll be awesome. Also in Outlook, so these three actually are just from the roadmap as well. So in Outlook, there's the idea of delegates, and look at this: meeting search, meeting triage, and scheduling via Copilot chat. All of these due in the new year. So I'm going to leave it at that, but I suspect I'll be telling you more about that maybe in the December update. Okay, over in SharePoint, a big one for you now: SharePoint Document Library User Experience Update. Let's just zoom in on this a little bit. You can see it just looks a bit friendlier. It's pretty colourful. You can see that they've actually, this is part of what they've decided for this, what they want in this library. But even at the top, it just looks fresher, doesn't it? Well, let's go and have a look at the detail. The simplified command bar. So we've got at the top up here, look, not entirely surprising with the way Microsoft are at the moment. They are leading with their AI actions. That's the first option that you get. But you can see it's simplified. And it'd be interesting actually to see the overflow menu here. When you click on that, that's going to go down to the bottom of the page, isn't it? Think about all the things that are no longer, that you can't see at the moment. It's going to be interesting. The improved breadcrumb navigation. So you can see here it says Knowledge Depot. Apparently that's going to be easier to navigate and find your way around. Custom views. Look at the views. They're just sitting at the top here. So the custom views are here. And it shows clearly which one I'm looking at. Filter pills over here, so I've filtered by, in this case, by document type, and the view options button. So number 5. Honestly, I think it's this part here. So I looked at this for quite a while, trying to work out the message center details. So I think that's that button there. If I'm mistaken, forgive me. As soon as I know, I'll make sure. If it's not that, I'll update the blog post. Due early to late January. So that's one to tell your colleagues about. At first glance, it looks good. And now, thinking about who the users are for SharePoint, I bet they've looked at all the telemetry for the way people use libraries, and these are the key things that most people use. And the rest of us will know that we can use the overflow menu and maybe the options button there. Folks, early to late January. So quick one, SharePoint introducing the new workflow experience that I've told you about before. This is aligning with the new workflow experience that you're going to get in Microsoft Teams, and that page basically looks the same. Pushed back quite a bit. I've told you about this previously. It's been pushed back a lot. Now due early February 2026. Optimizing version history for lists and libraries, so grid view, and it's going to take up less space apparently. And there was something else, forgive me, but I can't remember what the other detail is. But this is another one from the roadmap. Due November, it's not going to be in November. But I suspect I'll be telling you more about that next month. So look out for that. That is on the way. So some big changes for SharePoint coming. With the change to the workflows experience, don't forget the workflow experience. Let's go back a bit. That's not only changing that, part of that is the automations button going away and that being absorbed by the integrate button. But think about this previous update. I wonder what's going to happen to that. I just want to see what's inside this overflow button to see whether the workflows experience is going to appear in there. Maybe that's why this has been pushed back so far, so they can get that new update out first. Anyway, so between that new layout, the workflows and the change of the buttons, the version history getting a change. What else we got? So 2013 workflow retirement on the 2nd of April next year. Quick shout out to the people who subscribe to the Update Insiders. I think the main reason that people do this is just as a thank you, and just to help with the cost of running the site and the time that I spend on it. But you do also get each of the updates to the main posts I do. As I create the posts, I send them straight to your inbox, so you see them straight away. You don't need to wait. You don't have to look at social media or check on the site. The main updates for every single individual post that I do, you get that sent to your inbox with a link to the page. Also, the roundup that I share every month, as that's getting created during the month, you get access to that as well. So you can check in throughout the month and you can see what's new rather than waiting until the end. But I think the main reason people do it is just to say as a thank you and just to help support the channel. Those of you who do it, I very much appreciate it. And if you don't, you know what? It'd be great if you did, obviously. Okay, let's get back to it. I hate that sort of stuff. Let's get back to the updates. Teams, the Discover feed in Teams is getting a follow thread option. So let's have a look at this. So in my channel, so you can see that the setup here, the person's got combined chats and channels, haven't they? I personally still can't get on with that. I still have mine separate in settings. But as you can see here, we've got the Discover feed. So the Discover feed looks at your behavior, who you engage with, what you engage with, and it pops up here. Now, it'd be great to have a way that you can easily get back to the things that it suggests for you, and you now can. Click on the three little dots on the content in the Discover feed, and you can say that you want to follow this thread. Okay, good. And then when we come into here, this follow thread section, I can then click on there, and all these things that have been suggested in the Discover feed that I want to go back to, then I can find them easily. Folks, this should be here by early December. Image search is coming to Teams, chats, and channels. This looks good. So right from the bar at the top, you can search for images. At the moment, it's based on the message content around the image, the people involved in the chat or the channel, that location for context. Do you know what I bet the next thing you're going to see here, for those who've got a Copilot license, it's going to be looking at the content of the images and looking at those, I think. But for now, it's just only the information around the image, but still good. So we clicked on it. So we click on this image here, you see there, and then we get the lightbox open up. You can click on those arrows and we just move through it. The image filter pill, so we're searching. I got that pill there, so I've done my search and I want to only search images, so we've got that new filter there as well, due by early December. Audio only recording option for Teams meetings and calls. I think this is great. It doesn't, at first pass you're like, yeah, so, but I think it's great. So imagine that you're on a meeting. I really like having cameras on during meetings. I think it brings a lot to the meeting. I can see people that give you noddy heads or shaky heads. You can just call in and engage with people. You feel like you're talking to somebody. I think it's a great way to run meetings and sessions. But if you're recording it to share later, it might be that actually I want to have my video on when I'm talking to you folk, but later on when people who weren't in the meeting and don't have the context and weren't there live, seeing the video feed and looking at me looking out the window or checking something or whatever you're doing, so I want to have the benefits of the communication, but I don't want that recorded, and that's what this will give you. So it will give you audio only. So it's better than just a transcript, because the transcript can be inaccurate. It means you've still got the actual audio. I love this. So when you're starting your recording, you can say audio only if you want to. So due by the end of November. I think that's a really good update. I'm going to stop going on about it, but I think it's a great update. Find team settings with a new settings search box. This is really good. It might be that in my team settings, I know I've got settings to do with Copilot, and it might be that I don't know the settings area very well. So here, I can just do a search for Copilot, and everywhere where there's a setting for Copilot will be shown on the right hand side. How good is that? Right, so it might be, I don't know, or audio or microphone. Maybe something's not right. Whatever the thing is you're looking for, you'll see all those settings in one place. Search by category names, section titles, subtitles, control titles or part of the description. They've done a really good job with this. Due early November, you've probably got it now. So go and check that out. Next time you're looking for a setting, just do a search and it should pop up for you. Adding emojis to personalized chat and channel section names. Not entirely sure whether they had to do this, because you can press the Windows key and full stop to get the emoji. I have to look at my keyboard then, didn't I? To get the emojis up, so at the start of a section, you can add that as well. And whatever the keyboard combination is on a Mac, I now have to use a Mac for one of my clients, and it's a struggle. And I can't remember half the keyboard shortcuts. But certainly on Windows, it's just Windows key and full stop will bring it up, and you can add emojis anywhere. But they're making it a bit easier, I guess. So let's start, in case you missed it. It might be that in your chats or your channels, you want a new section. So for example, let's say you start in a new organization with a new team and you don't know everyone's names yet. And in your chats, you want to keep that organized, but you don't want to hide these chats because you won't remember who the people are that you've spoken to go back and review them. It might be that you have a section called old chats, or the one I've got is no actions. So when I've dealt with something, I move it to no actions, and it pops up. It just means I don't forget who I'm dealing with. So the sections are really useful. What we get in here, look, is the ability to add those images. So here you can see that if you're a visual person, you can have that. And actually, literally just what we're talking about it, maybe what the use is of this is that I was gonna say it stops it from being changing the alphabetical nature of names, but you move these where you want, don't you? So like for channel names, for example, using those emojis, because they're just code behind the scenes, that affects the order that they go in, so the emojis can change the order. But actually these are drag and drop, aren't they? So they look pretty anyway. If that's of interest to you, you've got that by late November. So some quick ones. Microsoft Teams are introducing a redesigned workflows experience, a bit like the one I was talking about for SharePoint as well. I keep trying to stifle a yawn. If you're wondering what that face is that I'm putting, I'm trying to keep a yawn in. It's the end of a long day here in the UK, and I just want to keep a yawn in. I apologise if you see me just kind of clenching my jaw. So Teams introducing a redesigned workflows experience, now due late January to mid-February. I wonder why that is so delayed. I don't know. It looks good, but it is what it is. So mid-February for that one. Teams getting a network strength indicator. I feel like I've been talking about this for my whole life. So the strength indicator. So you want to call, the presenter's getting a bit glitchy, and you're like, is it me or is it the presenter? Well, no one else is saying anything, so it must be me. And it turns out everyone's thinking it must be me. This indicator will show you whether it's you or whether it's the presenter. Keeps getting pushed back, now back to mid-January. Maybe that's a privacy thing. Maybe different countries got different rules around privacy, haven't they? It might be that they want that to be optional. Then someone needs to just build that in rather than it being a mandatory setting. So anyway, early next year. Teams group chats gets a new notes tab. Those of you who know me and you come on my my other sessions, you know that I'm not a fan of this. The notes tab in channels looks at the default OneNote notebook, doesn't it? And it's called notes. You know, if you click it, you know what you're going to get. In group chats, it goes to loop. So it's called the same thing, but it's a different set of knowledge that you need to be able to use it. I don't know. And it's going to be rolled out by default. I'm hoping that my organisation turns it off because it doesn't matter. Because whenever I've spoken to people about it, and there's a amount of people that say, "What's loop?" So I know it's an established thing; it's been around for a long time, but lots of people just don't use it, and they're like, "Well, what's loop?" And I'm like, "Oh, so for you to use this, I've got to teach you how to use that." So bizarre for me. Bizarre. I don't know why they didn't use some kind of implementation with OneNote. Well, I kind of do, because it's who's going to own it, where's it going to be? It's more difficult. But they're just different. Called the same thing, do a different job. Anyway, mid-November. So some quick ones. So these also from the 365 roadmap. So the details are sketchy, but not as sketchy as those dates. Live meeting indicator for channels. So when you have a channel meeting and it's live, it's a bit subtle. Apparently it's going to be easier to identify that there's a meeting going on in there. Customizing your Microsoft Teams experience with new accent colors. These accent colors, you could just choose them and it would show you down the in the app bar. It would show you which app is active, which things are active, which things are clickable, you know, what's in use at the moment. And it only affected me, and it was a great way for me to customize Teams. When I told people about this, a lot of people said, well, actually, no, a handful of people said to me that from an accessibility point of view, that might just be enough contrast for them not to need to use any accessibility settings. So really disappointing that this has just been put on hold with no explanation or date. So I know a few people who are a bit disappointed by that. I can't see why. It was a me setting. I don't know why anyone would be bothered by that. Anyway, moving on to around a bit of a grumpy end to that, wasn't it? Between the notes feature and Microsoft putting that one on hold. Anyway, let's pick ourselves up and go to around Microsoft 365. So you may already have noticed that the apps have got new icons. Apparently, the newly designed Microsoft 365 icons reflect their strategic shift in Microsoft 365, unified, intuitive, and designed for flow across every canvas. So you're going to get a phased rollout across web, desktop, and mobile platforms. Someone on one of the social media platforms I look at said, yeah, but we now need to update our training materials and our guides and our slides and everything else. And it's just like, I don't know, and like PowerPoint has lost its chart. They used to have a clue about what it is. Teams, I mean, what's that? That looks like a Mr. Blobby ride at Alton Towers. What is it? I don't even know what that is. It looks like some kind of 5-year-old's little cart with 2 floating heads. Anyway, that's live now. Whatever. This is more important. Microsoft Authenticator to block entry credentials on jailbroken and rooted devices. So the jailbroken and rooted refers to Apple or Android devices. Some people do this, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, you haven't done this to your phone. So some people do it to give them more flexibility of what they do with their phone. And quite a lot of us on our private phones, we use Authenticator for our work accounts. You're going to get, if this applies to you, you're going to get a warning telling you in this phased process, so the warning mode initially, and then it's going to block it. And the next stage, you're just going to just remove those credentials from your phone altogether because of the perceived security risk. Now, I was wondering how many people this will affect. So I asked Copilot to consider all the iPhones and Androids and devices in the world, and consider how many people have got installs of the Microsoft Authenticator, and then think about on the private phones, how many of those people who've got Authenticator use Authenticator for their work accounts. I also asked it to look at how many of those devices have been jailbroken or rooted, and have an estimate how many people this would apply to. And I think it said something like 2%, forgive me if that's wrong, I think it's like 2%, so around 750,000 accounts around the world. So actually from Microsoft point of view, so someone in your organization or someone you know, it's not likely that it's going to affect someone you know. Not impossible, but not likely, not super likely. Although at 2%, then maybe there will be. But if you think about Microsoft and then the having these it's jailbroken or they're rooted, you've got more freedom about what you put on your phone and the way it behaves. So it might be that actually that Microsoft has deemed those sort of numbers are enough to take action. Anyway, if this applies to you, the first quarter of next year, you're going to run into that problem of getting warned, getting blocked, and then it being wiped from your phone, those accounts. Hooky looky. The ability to turn Teams meetings to PowerPoint slides. This will be good. You've had a meeting about the XYZ project, and actually you've made some good decisions, and you've got some good outputs, so you need to go and talk to the boss about what you've all decided. Why not just turn that meeting straight into your slide deck? Due mid to late January. Looks really good. Copilot to get a dedicated and contextual explanation. Okay, so this is about you've been able to highlight something on your screen, highlight text, it might be an acronym or whatever it is, and then highlighting something and then asking it to explain about that. So it's just a 365 roadmap update at the moment, so a few details. But I'm guessing it's going to be you highlight your text and then maybe a floating menu, a floating Copilot button, or a drop down. I can't imagine the workflow being nice if it's on the side of, say, the page you're looking at, and you highlight text and you say, look at the text I've highlighted. I'm not sure how it would do that. So I'm thinking, is it maybe like something floating when you highlight text? I don't know, if I'm honest. But I think that's going to be really good. So if you just see something you like, I want to know more about that, you're going to be able to highlight it and get that information. I'd love to be able to tell you more about that next month. We'll see. Copilot for the web, PowerPoint for the web. I've got Copilot in the brain. The editor pane, that you would help you with editing your PowerPoint, helping with English and the words. That's been retired, no doubt in favour of Copilot. And then the reuse slides feature is also being retired December to January. Folks, a shade over half an hour, so that brings us to the end of our time together. So if you want regular updates, go to the socials, sign up. So it's super simple 365, except on LinkedIn, where it's Mark Thompson Trainer. Go and find me on there. It'd be great to have you along. Those updates go out about 7:25 a.m. UK time, Monday to Friday. But that's it, folks. We're done. I want to thank you for watching. Hopefully that was helpful. Feel free to go into the notes and then go and have a read of the blog. And that's it. Hopefully you'll watch again next month.